Hey, shalom, shalom, brother Bakwash, back on that scene, back on that social media scene. Real quick video. I'm going to bed in a little while, but this just crossed my mind, something on my mind, something on the brother's mind. I was in my travels, and I started talking to this so-called Hispanic woman. I think she was from somewhere near Central America, maybe Guatemala, or Ecuador, somewhere down there. I don't know, man. Somewhere South or Central America. And somehow we got into the subject matter of the vaccine. We got into the talking about the vaccine, and she inquired, "Have I been vaccinated?" And it's good stuff. Check this out when you get a chance. Old House Farms, ginger and carrot. Check this out. That's good stuff, man. Good stuff. Natural. Anyway, she inquired if I had been took the jab. And I was like, hell no, I didn't take the jab, And I guess because of my tone, sometimes I could be a little colorful, when speaking or responding back to people on certain issues. And she didn't like that. And when I started going into it about, the V not being FDA approved, at that time it wasn't FDA approved. It being a test drug, you can still catch the virus, even though you take the jab. I went through a whole lot of stuff, man. And, when I got through, she was tight, man. She was tight. She was tight. She was mad as hell. And I question, how do you know this doesn't affect your children in the future? You having children in the future. How do you know this doesn't affect that? And that made her even more mad. She got even more upset when I said that, because it's something to consider. It's something to consider. Now, and I've mentioned this in other videos about population control and the rate that we have children versus the enemy. And I also went biblical. I went to when we were in captivity under the Egyptians, and then according to Scripture, we're like the sand of the sea. So that's an issue for the powers that be. That's an issue for Esau, the so-called white man, white woman, and child. These things are issues, and these are things we need to consider. These are actual situations that we need to consider. And like I said in past videos, we're under the mindset that this man is not capable of doing such wicked, heinous acts. This is how we think today. And that's a very, very foolish position or state of mind to be in. Very stupid state of mind to be in, But I want to show you something. I'm not going to be long because I'm going to bed, man. I'm tired. One thing, in this captivity, this is very, very draining. It's very draining. The frustration, if you're not eating right, if you're not drinking enough water, this can start to get to you after a while. It can definitely start to get to you after a while and have an effect on you. You have to be very smart and consider what you're putting in your body and the different stress levels you're dealing with. You have to consider all these things, man, because it starts to weigh on you after a while. And luckily, through the grace of the Most High, He has blessed me with wise brothers and sisters who are knowledgeable as far as what to eat and what not to eat. And that's the beauty in learning. Or the Most High said that we shouldn't be ignorant in anything small or great, and that's the beauty of learning, man. You learn what to do and what not to do, how to survive. You learn how to survive, basically, and that's what you want to do. We want to survive, But I want to show you something. Let's see if we get a little bit of music going. I think it's playing. If you hear the AC, you have to forgive me. The AC in the back. I don't think you. I don't think this mic is picking up the AC, but this doesn't make much of a difference. But I want you to check this out, man, because this is how you got to think. You're dealing with some very evil people who has hated us for centuries, and through TV and cartoons and stupid programs that keep you on a sixth grade level. I mentioned this over the weekend. You wear down after a while, and your defenses come down lower. You got to realize what we are dealing with in the level of wickedness that is being used to destroy us as a people. You got to think on that level. I want you to check this article out now. Not that one. Not that one. Right here. It says, imagine going to the hospital for a common surgical procedure such as an appendectomy. It says, only to find out afterwards you had been sterilized. Imagine that. Imagine that. Can't have any more children. And imagine finding out that the government had a program to direct such procedures towards Black women, and not just Black women, Hispanic women, and North American Indian women. Then on another level, if you speed up to today, I wouldn't be surprised if they're doing this to men as well, making them sterile. Again, it says, imagine going to the hospital for a common surgical procedure such as an appendectomy. Or appendectomy, right? Only to find out afterward that you've been sterilized. In the 20th century, untold numbers of women of color endured such life-altering experiences, in part because of medical racism. Now look at this next part I got highlighted. It says Black, Native American, and Puerto Rican women reported being sterilized. Again, it says Black, Native American, and Puerto Rican women reported being sterilized. Now, isn't that a coincidence? Isn't that a coincidence as far as what we teach? Now, I mentioned that Joe Biden mentioned the same thing. He mentioned the same thing as far as the people on this tribe sign that a lot of you brothers hate, that a lot of you sisters hate. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris both mentioned at one point, that not enough Blacks and Hispanics were vaccinated enough. And I flipped my wig when I heard that. Because it's just strange that they mention everybody that's on the 12 tribe chart, and at the same time, people hate the 12 tribe chart. People hate the 12 tribe chart. That's really strange that they would mention Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and we're reading the same thing. We're reading the same thing, which was done over 50 years ago to Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. See, a lot of you're not spiritual. So you get all bent up out of shape, and you think that all the tribes are Black. And you lose your mind and you act silly. But you're not looking at it spiritually. But the devil, he's looking at it spiritually. He sees what the hell is going on. He's looking at it. You better believe he's looking at it. You better believe he's looking at it. Again, it says untold number of women of color endured such life-altering experiences, in part because of medical racism. Black, Native American, and Puerto Rican women reported being sterilized without their consent after undergoing routine medical procedures or after giving birth. Others say they unknowingly signed documentation allowing them to be sterilized or were coerced in doing so. The experiences of these women's strained relations between people of color and health personnel. Again, it says the experiences of these women strain relations between people of color and health personnel. In the 21st century, members of the communities of color still widely distrust medical officials. I wonder why. I wonder why they don't trust Uncle Joe. I wonder why they don't trust the government. I wonder why they don't want to take that jab. I wonder why. Then on the flip side, I wonder why a lot of you so-called Negroes are so quick to trust the government. I wonder why. I wonder why. But that's just really strange how he named everybody that's on this chart. That's on this chart. You have so-called blacks, so-called African Americans, so-called West Indians, so-called Haitians, which would be classified as blacks. Then you have the Spanish-speaking brothers and sisters, Simeon, Zebulon, Ephraim, Manasseh, who have children like crazy. And then when you go down, you have the so-called North American Indians, Gad, and so on and so forth. So why would he name those people like that? Why would Joe mention the same thing that's written in this article, that's written in that same piece that I'm showing you? Why is that? Because they're children of the Most High, and they have children at a phenomenal rate. That's why. They're the children of the Most High. I'll show you something real quick. You could deny it. You could be in your feelings, in your emotions, but you're not spiritual. That's why you can't see it. You're not spiritual. So you can't see it, and you have a problem with it. You're struggling with it. But it's all good, because in the end, we will see. In the end, we'll see. I read this to you already a few days ago, possibly. But I want you to check this out. It says, Hosea 1 verse 10, it says, Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, who? The children of Israel, which cannot be measured or numbered, the Most High is showing you. Again, it says, yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea. Can you number each grain of sand that's by the sea? Can you? Which cannot be measured nor numbered. It shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, the same children of Israel said unto them, ye are not my people, where we're not recognized as the Most High's people. We're not given credit as being the Most High's people. The true history proving that we're the Most High's people is not being revealed, so we're considered not the Most High's people. Again, it says, and it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, there it shall be said unto them, ye are the sons of the living God. Ye are the sons of the living God. That's what the Most High is saying. That's what the Most High is saying. Ye are the sons of the living God. Now that's real strange. And you know, I've been looking for that video with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris saying that. I'm gonna dig that up when I get a chance. But I've been looking and scrolling through videos of him before he was president. He was saying this. No, I'm sorry. He was president already, and he was saying this crap. But I got to see if I can find that, because I'm having a difficult time finding that, you know. But that's just strange. Very strange. Very strange, you know. But true and spiritual if you're willing to see it. But spiritual if you're willing to see it. Again, it says, others say they unknowingly signed documentation allowing them to be sterilized or were coerced, meaning duped. or they ran game on them, or they did the devilish Jedi mind trick on them. So they were coerced into doing so. The experience of these women strained relations between people of color and health care personnel. In the 21st century, members of communities of color still widely distrust medical officials. Widely distrust medical officials. And this is a big issue because a lot of people of color are not taking the V shot. This is why they're pushing so hard, because a lot of people distrust the government. They distrust the government. It says countless numbers of Americans who were poor, mentally ill, from minority background, or otherwise regarded as undesirable were sterilized as the eugenics movement gained momentum in the United States. Early 20th century eugenists believed that measures should be taken to prevent undesirables, meaning blacks, Hispanics, and North American Indians, and even sometimes some of their own, but mainly so-called blacks, Hispanics, and North Americans and Seminole Indians. Early 20th century eugenists believed that measures should be taken to prevent undesirables from reproducing so that the problems such as poverty and substance abuse would be eliminated in the future. They got some damn nerve talking about substance abuse. Who was bringing the substance in the black communities to be abused in the first place? You see how much of a liar these devils are? You see how much of a liar these devils are? Oh man, it says problems such as poverty and substance abuse would be eliminated in future generations. By the 1960s, tens of thousands of Americans were sterilized. Again, it says by the 1960s, tens of thousands of Americans were sterilized in state-run eugenics programs. Taxpayer money used for a program to sterilize so-called blacks, Hispanics, and North American Indians. According to investigative reports for NBC News, North Carolina was one of 31 states to adopt such a program. Again, it says, so this is for Facebook and YouTube, it says investigative reports for NBC, a notable broadcast channel, a notable source of news and information, NBC, National Broadcast Crap. It says, again, it says North Carolina was one of 31 states to adapt such a program. I want to show you something else now. Again, I told you I'm not going to be long. I'm tired, man. But this was just heavy on my mind. Check that. I want you to check something out. Just a matter of time. Boy, I tell you, boy. What confuses me is, why do you guys trust this man? Why do you trust this man? Now, remember I told you when I first opened up that it was a Hispanic woman I was talking to, and look how easy she is just gobbling what's fed to her. I'm trying to be careful what I say because these devils will shut me down again. They probably gonna shut me down. I don't care, man. That's good stuff, man. But it's the women, man, and the men, but mainly the women. I've had women fight me verbally over this nonsense. They get so mad they want to fight verbally over this nonsense. I want to show you something. Oh boy, I tell you, nobody can be this stupid, man. Nobody can be this stupid, or nobody should be this stupid. But but yeah, it is what it is, man. We've been in the garbage so long. I'm not surprised. Check this out.
Hello, I'm Shihab Ratansi. Tens of thousands were forcibly sterilized throughout the 20th century across the US. They were deemed, quote, feeble-minded and inappropriate candidates for reproduction. Most states abandoned the practice after World War II amidst revulsion at the Nazi program of eugenics. North Carolina, however, ramped up its use of forced sterilization. In all, more than 7,500 were sterilized in that state alone. It did halt its program in 1974, and last year it finally began taking steps to compensate those targeted. But on Thursday, the state Senate rejected the plan, arguing it was too expensive. Elaine Riddick was one of those forcibly sterilized in North Carolina when she was a young girl. Both she and her attorney, Willie Gary, say they're disappointed with the Senate's decision, but vow to continue the fight for reparation.
I was a victim of rape, and as a result of the rape, I became pregnant, had my son, went into the hospital, and I was sterilized. They sterilized me without my knowledge or consent.
How do you know that's not happening now? How do you know this is not happening today in 2021? How are you so gullible to believe and trust in this government so easily? How do you know this is not happening right now? How do you know they're not putting stuff in your food? How do you know certain medicines you're taking, this doesn't have that type of effect on you? How do you know the jab is not being used for this reason on the low? That it won't affect you down the line? Maybe 3 or 4 years down the line? How do you know? Are you this gullible? I mean, seriously, are you this gullible that you can't see past this? Is that what you're telling me? Or you have not considered this? I'm just trying to show you how people think today, how we think. You understand what I'm saying? I'm just trying to show you how we think and how gullible we are.
There are various stages to this. First of all, in the pressure that your guardian, your grandmother at the time, was put under to have you taken into custody by a social worker. Is that correct?
Yes.
And did the authority that she gave her consent for you to be both taken into custody and sterilized?
Well, you have to remember my grandmother was coerced into signing an X for me to become sterilized, but she didn't understand what sterilization or tubal ligation was at that time.
This is why it's very important that we educate ourselves in anything that's thrown our way. Remember I mentioned earlier, the Most High said not to be ignorant in anything small or great. This is why it's so important. It is so important to learn how to take care of yourselves and how not to rely on the system as much as possible, how not to trust the system as much as possible. You know, all right, granted, her grandmother didn't know what sterilization meant, or what was the, I guess the mechanics of what the physical, what they was doing to her daughter or granddaughter physically. But still, I guarantee you that her grandmother was gullible enough to believe in these devils. I guarantee you her grandmother was gullible to believe in the system, just like a lot of you today, you believe and trust in the system. You believe and trust in the system, especially the women. I'm not saying all the women. I'm not beating up on the women, but it sure damn seems like the majority of the people that trust in this government, that trust even in the jab, is our women. Ridiculous.
All she knew, I believe, is that her food supplements were being threatened to be taken away from her.
Doesn't that sound familiar? Let's hear that again.
For me to become sterilized, but she didn't understand what sterilization or tubal ligation was at that time. All she knew, I believe, is that her food supplements were being threatened.
Her food supplements or her food supplies were being threatened. Does that not ring a bell? Does that not ring a bell? That doesn't sound familiar. Aren't your food supplies being threatened? Isn't your livelihood on the line? Isn't there a mandate hanging over all of our heads? That sounds very, very familiar.
Was at that time, all she knew, I believe, is that her food supplements were being threatened to be taken away from her.
Taken away from her. I'm telling you, man, a lot of you gonna realize that these are the devils that is written about in scripture. A lot of you gonna start to realize this.
If she did not consent.
This whole program was set up and designed to get, to stop anybody, no matter what color you were, from having children or giving birth.
See, now he's gonna water it down. He's gonna water it down. I agree. You had some non-blacks who are sterilized too, but the main focal point was blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. When Joe Biden and Kamala Harris mentioned minorities that may have been discriminated against because they had no access or easy access to taking the jab or finding centers to get the V shot or the jab, they mentioned so-called blacks, Hispanics, and North American Indians.
If you, number one, came from a background of a crime, or if your mom or dad had been arrested, had been in jail, or if they were undesirables, or if mentally you had some illnesses or some handicaps that they did not want good red-blooded American people to have children. They wanted to weed out the undesirables and create a class that they thought was only desirable. And that's not the way it worked. You don't do that to anybody.
Elaine, when did you find out that you had been sterilized?
Well, I didn't find out until I was 19.
And what were the circumstances?
Well, I had gotten married at the age of 18, and my husband and I, we decided to wait at least a year before we decided to start our family.
You hear this garbage? Could you imagine? Could you imagine? Could you just imagine?
Family, and we did just that, but in the process I kept getting sick, and we found out that I had been sterilized, and that was it.
The fight goes on, clearly. Are you going to continue your legal action or attempts at legal action against the state?
We don't want litigation. That's the last thing that we want, but we want to make it clear. That's what it takes. That's what it's going to be, because not only do I represent Elaine, but a number of other people, and the class is growing. I mean, you could be talking about billions of dollars that's in damages here. But, I think mediation is a good way to go, to sit down and try to talk through your differences, but it's not going to go away.
Elaine, you did attempt to sue the state once before. I think many people will find it pretty amazing that the jury decided...
This should be an open and shut case. But it seems like they're giving her a hard time as far as reparations is concerned, or suing the state.
That you were not unlawfully deprived of your right to bear children.
Well, first, you also have to look at the mentality of the jury and who they were. You have to remember that during the time that before it went to the Supreme Court, the people that was on the jury was none of my equal, none of color, or none of my age.
So that means she didn't get SH. She didn't get SHIT, But again, man, we in time. I mean, the same way I brought up how the Most High is making it a little bit easy for us to see that He's real and His judgment is real. the Most High is making it easy to see that this government and this man is the devil, and it's you have to get out of your feelings. You got to get out of your feelings. You got to get out of your feelings and realize that you are at war with an enemy that is not going to change. He's programmed to do the wickedness that he's doing, and he's not going to change. Not going to change. Isaiah 26 verse 10. It says, "Let favor be shown to the wicked." Let favor be shown to the wicked. In other words, give the wicked a chance. Check him out. See if he can change. Let favor be shown to the wicked, yet he will not learn righteousness. You see that? That's clear. And that's in your face. Let favor be shown to the wicked, yet will he not learn righteousness. In the land of uprightness, he will deal unjustly. In the land of uprightness, he will deal unjustly and will not behold the majesty, meaning the Holy Spirit, or the righteousness of the Lord. He will not see it. He will not see it. And a lot of you're going to struggle with that. You're going to struggle with that till you're dead. You're going to struggle with that till you're dead. A lot of you don't want to see that, but the Most High, he going to make you see it. He's going to make you see it, whether you want to see it or not. I mean, don't tell what more do you need? What more do you need? I mean, man, that's unbelievable. That's totally unbelievable. What I just saw, man, and what I'm reading. Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. I mean, what is it going to take? Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha 12, verse 10, it says, "Never trust thine enemy." See that? You see what the Lord said? Never trust thine enemy. So we have enemies. And the Lord said not to trust them. I don't care if you're in your church. I don't care if you sing hymns together. I don't care if you share clothes. I don't care if you eat Jello shots out the same glass. The Lord said, never trust thine enemy, for as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. As iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. It says, though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. That's the problem. A lot of you have let go your guards. You have let down your guards, rather. You have let down your guards. And you believe this man now. You believe the system. You believe the drugs. You believe the food. You believe the religion. Now you have a mandate over your head. Your jobs are not even guaranteed now. If you have children, your health care is in jeopardy now. You see how backwards this is? People are out of work. 10 million people are out of work. Yet they want to create a mandate that you can't eat and patronize and show some type of patronage towards your local restaurants and bars or wherever you go at. So how is that going to affect the economy financially? How is that going to work? You see how backwards this is? You see how backwards this is? Economically, the system has never recovered. It hasn't recovered yet. It hasn't recovered. It has not recovered. But it just shows you how these people think. This is becoming a joke, a circus at this point. A goddamn circus at this point. Again, it's because I want to go to bed. It says, never trust thy enemy, for like as iron rusted, so is his wickedness. And you know how rust manifests itself. It just grows and continues and continues and continues. until it totally erodes and destroys the iron that it's attacking. But it's a slow process. But now we're at the stage of the process where this man is the wicked. And you got some of our people who are wicked with this man, but he is the physical arm of the devil on this earth. And a lot of us, meaning so-called blacks, so-called Hispanics, so-called North American Indians, have taken on that same wicked, rusty spirit, man. 11 verse says, though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust, has not been altogether wiped away. So the so-called white man, he was a beast when he ran up on the natives in this country. He was a beast. But he gave him smallpox. The so-called white man historically was a beast when he conquered the so-called Hispanics in Central and South America. He was a beast. But he gave them religion and they believed him, but he cut their hands off if they didn't produce enough gold. He raped their women if they didn't do what he wanted. He spread a smallpox and destroyed millions and millions of so-called North American Indians, yet you trust this man. You trust his medicine, you trust his doctors, you trust his system. But you don't trust the Bible. The Bible says, and thou shalt know that his rust has not been altogether wiped away. So 200, 400 years later, 500 years later, after all that brutality, we're finding out that rust has not been wiped away. He gave you religion. He gave you the Bible. He gave you white Jesus. He said, I'm a Christian, but that rust or that wickedness has not been wiped away. 12th verse says, set him not by thee, lest when he has overthrown thee. 12th verse again, it says, set him not by thee, lest when he has overthrown thee, he standeth up in thy place. Sounds familiar? He standeth up in thy place, neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat. And that's exactly what happened. All the lands that you once occupied, who's standing up in it? All the lands that you had a seat of authority in, who now is taking that seat? Your enemies. Your enemies. Again, it says, set him not by thee, lest when he has overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place, which he's doing, neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat. And thou at last remember my words and be pricked therewith, meaning take in what's being said to you. Who will pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent? Let's go on deeper into the issue, but I don't need to go any further. This is not rocket science at this point. At this point, if you can't see the real deal at this point, you're just an emotional fool. You're just an emotional Christian fool. At this point, don't make no sense to be that dumb. I could say a lot, but I'm not going to say too much because, I'm already risking the chance of having my account shut down at this point. But you be dumb if you want. But that's very strange that those tribes are mentioned in that document I just read. Very strange. Very, very strange that was read like that. And it was mentioned by Joe Biden, the same group, so-called blacks, so-called Hispanics, so-called Native Americans. It's just odd that came up like that. It's just very odd that came up, like that. I want to show you that one more time before we get out of here, man. one more time. That's just very odd. Where is it? There it is, right here. It says, imagine going to the hospital for a common surgical procedure such as an appendectomy, only to find out afterwards that you have been sterilized. In the 20th century, untold numbers of women of color endured such a life-altering experience, in part because of medical racism. Blacks, Native Americans, and Puerto Rican women. Oh my God! I mean, what more do you want? What more do you want? What more do you need to see? Medical racism, Black, Native American, and Puerto Rican women report being sterilized without their consent after undergoing routine medical procedures or after giving birth. What more do you need? I mean, really, what more do you need? I don't need a lot. I don't know about you, but I really don't need a lot. I mean, this is clear. It's clear for me. I don't know what more you need. But you know, some of you take a little longer to get it than others, and I hope you get it eventually. But I pray you wake up, man. And I wish it wasn't this bad, but we have to go through these things. We sin, and we gotta do the time for the crime. We broke the Most High's commandments, and this is where we're at now. But I gave you something to think about. You brothers and sisters, you stay strong in the spirit, and we'll see how things go, man. We got it's gonna be a interesting couple of weeks to come. We're gonna see how this mandate plays out. How many of you saw the football games? They were screaming at Joe, showing that a lot of the white Americans, so-called Americans, they hate this man. They hate this man. They hate this man with a passion. They don't want no goddamn mandates. Okay, man. We're social people, man. Even the devil, he's social. We're social people. We like barbecuing, swimming, drinking in the bars, sports, different events, concerts. We're social people. The Most High created us to be social, not locked up in a house and scared and worrying about how to make ends meet. That's not our nature. Especially us, so-called Negroes and Hispanics. Especially us, we're definitely social people. We like to be free. But something on the brother's mind, something to think about, man. I hope you put that information to good use and incorporate it in your spirits. Stay strong, stay focused. Have mercy on your brothers and sisters who are less fortunate, weaker in spirit, perhaps even lost. Be a pillar of strength and spirituality to the weak brothers and sisters. And tomorrow is the Day of Atonement for us. I see some people is doing it Wednesday. Have a blessed high holy day and repent, man, and have mercy on your brothers and sisters. Forgive your brothers and sisters so the Most High can forgive you and have mercy on you, because what goes around comes around, and the Most High is no respecter of person. This is Brother Bakwa signing out. Shalom.